His first flight was in the early 50s and he is still flying today. It is the fastest mass-produced propeller-driven aircraft that exists. The Tu-95 is a strategic bomber and missile carrier manufactured in the Soviet Union by Tupolev. In an era when turbojets are the main source of propulsion for frontline military aircraft, it's strange that the Tu-95 has remained active for almost 70 years. In Russia, it's expected to be active until 2040. Welcome to a new video from Aeropedia. The design office, led by Andrei Tupolev, designed the first intercontinental bomber of the Soviet Union, the Tu-85 of 1949. It was an expanded version of the Tu-4, a copy of the American Boeing B-29 Superfortress. But the appearance of new all-weather jet interceptors left the Tu-85 bomber quite vulnerable. So its development ended in favor of a much more ambitious bomber. This combined continental range with a speed similar to those new jet fighters. In 1950, a new requirement was issued to the design offices of Tupolev and Myasishchev. The proposed bomber had to have an unrefueled range of 8,000 kilometers, far enough to reach key targets in the United States and Europe. Another requirement was to carry an 11 2,200 and 4.62 pounds payload over the target. The Tu-95, with two turbo Bombardier 2F engines, first flew in November of 1952. After 6 months of test flights, this first prototype suffered failures and crashed. A second prototype then flew with the more reliable Kutuzov NK-12 engines, and mass production began in the early 56. The secret of the Tu-95? To achieve its speed and great range, it lies in the careful optimization of the propellers, quite conventional, in order to adapt to the new requirements requested without the need to install turbine engines that consumed more fuels and at this time were at the beginning of their development. The choice of engines was complicated, as the pure jet engines of the time consumed excessive fuel and consequently harmed the range. Turbofan engines were just a concept at the time, so they decided on high-speed counter-rotating twin-propeller turboprops to equip their new bomber. The engine was designed by a German team of former engineers who were prisoners at the Junkers factory. An advanced feature of the new counter-rotating twin-propeller turboprop engine lies in the use of electronic control to govern the speed of the propellers and the power of the engines, something very advanced for the time. The structure of these propellers and the great power of the engines made the Tu-95 become one of the noisiest planes in the world. Even the sonar systems of submarines could determine its position. The propellers are noisy because they rotate at a tremendous speed. The ends of each of the propeller blades usually exceed the sound barrier, creating small sonic booms. This topic was discussed in one of the channel's first videos, linked above in the cards. It's about a 4-engine strategic bomber design, powered by counter-rotating turboprops. It has a maximum takeoff weight of 188 tons and has a range of 15,000 kilometers. Its maximum speed is 925 kilometers per hour, and it has internal base and anchor points to carry up to 15,000 kg of weaponry. The structure of the aircraft was quite conventional, but it had been integrated with a wide 35-degree swept wing, and the wing sweep was necessary in order to meet the speed requirements. The wing contained all the fuel that this plane carried and was equipped with large flowers-type flaps, increasing the surface to improve the lift of the ship at the time of takeoff and landing. The effectiveness of this was enhanced by the flow generated by the propellers over the wings. Its importance to the Soviets was immense, as they rivaled the design of its competitor, the Myasikev M4, a plane of which we already have a video on the channel. It had achieved range performances far below what was specified in the initial program and needed more time to apply improvements. When the armed medium-altitude subsonic bomber, conventional and free-fall nuclear bombs began to become obsolete, it was decided to arm the Tu-95 with a cruise missile that could be launched from outside the enemy's defensive perimeter. This was the one called by NATO anti-submarine Kangaroo, the largest air-to-surface missile to date. The Tu-95s equipped with missiles are distinguished by a very characteristic radome under the test, in which the sophisticated radar equipment that guides the anti-submarine 3 missile is located. After its launch, from 1963 onwards, the Tu-95s were intercepted flying patrol missions and escorted increasingly more frequently near Western warships off Japan and the North Sea. It was deduced that some Tupolev bombers had been supplied to the Soviet Naval Air Force. These early aircraft were replaced in service by specialized versions equipped for long-range maritime reconnaissance. These were designated Tupolev Tu-142, which may already have their own video on the channel. In May of 1970, Tu-95 planes began to fly from Cuba. In November of 1981, it was permanently based there. A detachment of Tu-95 planes. They took off in pairs from San Antonio to patrol along the North American territorial waters up to the height of Washington and New York. These patrols of Tu-95, called the Eastern Express, were often escorted by American fighters on their transfer flights from the Soviet Union to Cuba. They were also intercepted by American and Canadian fighters when these bombers tested North American air defenses. In July of 2010, two Tu-95MS set a world record for non-stop flights for aircraft of this class when they spent more than 43 hours in the air. The bombers flew across the Atlantic, Arctic, and Pacific Oceans and the Sea of Japan, covering a total of 30,000 kilometers, with 4 refuelings in the air. In an era when turbojets are the main source of propulsion for frontline military aircraft, it's strange that the Tu-95 has remained inactive for over 50 years. But the size of its cell has allowed the installation of new and notable radar equipment over the years, as well as larger air-to-surface missiles from the Soviet arsenal. Currently, this strategic aircraft has broken a world record that is hard to beat. The Tu-95 had to wait 59 years, that is, since '56, to enter combat, being the longest time from the start of an aircraft model's life to its entry into actual combat. This with the bomber that was executed against the self-proclaimed Islamic State on November 17, 2015. Currently, the ongoing modernization of Russia's Tu-95 MS bombers is primarily aimed at the aircraft's armament. For example, the adaptation of the new KH-101 and 102 cruise missile, just a few years ago, Russia reported having 48 Tu-95 MS units and another 12 of the Tu-95 MSM. More modern variants are in service, repowered with several improvements. As a curious fact, a modified version of this bomber was the one that launched the most powerful hydrogen bomb detonated so far, called the SAR bomb, which had about 50 megatons of power. The Aeropedia.